Hello, my name is Kvothe and welcome back to my channel. Recently I went to the Google headquarters here in Dublin and it was amazing. I got to meet so many other YouTubers and wow, it was crazy and I loved it. And I should probably get down to the real topic of this video. Let's start. We're going to cover what I was going to cover at the beginning of last month but I didn't get round to, which is the books that I read in the month of September last year. So what did I read last year in September? Well, the first book I read in September was The Name of the Wind by Kvothe, which is the first book in the Kingkiller Chronicles and it is amazing. I really loved reading it. Now, it did take me about 150 pages to properly get into the book. It is quite slow in that regard at the very beginning. When you're reading it, you'll notice at the very beginning there's a lot of description, putting in context, and there seem to be stories of different characters that don't seem interconnected. And when you get to, I don't know if quite at 100 pages or a bit before, you kind of understand how some of them are interlinked, and they kind of all come together at then, and that's when you kind of get the whole feel for the story as a whole, and when the pace also picks up. And it's really great. Like, I have to say, it is extremely enjoyable to read. It's 662 pages long, I believe, or at least that was the edition I had. I have to say, it's probably one of the best books I have read in a long time. So, let's move on to the next book. The next book I read was Obsidian, which is the first book in the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So I read this book with the Little Book Owls book club, so that's a group on Goodreads. I'll link it down below if anyone's interested in joining or finding out more about it. We read the book and I didn't know anything about it before I started reading it. When I did read the back, I did kind of get a kind of a feel for like, this, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not, but I'll still read it to see. And I actually quite enjoyed it. I believe I rated it 3 stars. I can't say it was exceptional, but it was definitely enjoyable. And I will read the next book because firstly I own it, and secondly I definitely do think it's got some interesting plots and could go somewhere interesting. And I've been told that the second book is better. I can't remember who told me that. I really can't. But yeah, if that's the case, that's cool. So yeah, I'll get around to that at some point. Okay, and let's see what the next book is. So I read Mouse by Art Spiegelman, and I have to say it was definitely very interesting. Completely different to the other books I read last year. I did think it was extremely well written, and the concept of it being a graphic novel and at the same time being a memoir is extremely interesting. It is definitely a different way of bringing across history, and even though it's a very heavy topic, it definitely makes it easier to understand. Not something you fly through, but it does have elements that make it interesting because we have the perspective of the writer on his father's life, and not just the facts from when his father was in concentration camps or during the war, but also the nowadays, him interacting with his father and how that went down, and how the whole concept of how it's written and how the story is interlinked from the past to the present is very well done, and I definitely would recommend this. It is not the lightest read you'll ever have, but it is definitely one that I would say is worth it. The next story I read was The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. So this was very short. Apart from that, I thought it was an interesting story. Definitely weirded me out a bit, but I have to say, well written. You get into the main character's head and he's definitely a bit crazy. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely interesting to see how the author writes about it and how the whole story comes about, and I enjoyed it. That's it for that month. So in September I read 4 books, brings me to a total of 81 books for the year. And so for the month of September I read 1,188 pages, and that brings me to a total of 19,922 pages for the year at the end of September. Okay, wow. I'll see you next week for the next part. So I've decided that even though I wanted to make this a daily thing at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, I will be posting videos weekly. So the next video in this series will be up next week. Reached my goal, and that was the main thing I wanted to do in 2014. And so yeah, 104 books read. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you again around here, and if you have any ideas for what I could change, what I could do in the videos, if you have any ideas of tags or stuff I could do, I would love to know. I have a few collaborations coming up in the near future, and I'm really happy that I'm doing them, and it's just amazing with this, having gone with the Irish YouTubers to Irish Creators Day. I just have to say it was probably one of the best weekends of my life last weekend, and I just can't put words on it. It was just incredible, and it was so full of energy, and you can't be anything but motivated when you go to such an event, and everyone is so full of energy. The Irish YouTubers are just an incredible community, the best community I've ever had the opportunity to be part of, and Irish YouTubers for the win. Well, I hope you have a great time. See you next time. Bye.